You are one of the single most well-known, most watched, and most recognizable online personalities or content creators on the internet right now.
Yeah.
Let
A lot of
alone
people know
as a
me.
highly viewed World of Warcraft streamer.
Yeah.
You believe that your sway and your influence are minor, and that ultimately your effect on the WoW community is much smaller than most people believe,
Yes.
including yourself. I disagree.
All right, to Asmongold, help this helps. All right, this is a video as a response to me. As I said, this has been an ongoing conversation about the store mounts and the other stuff about that. So it's a video posted, somebody made, and I figured I'd watch it myself right now. So let's go take a look at it.
Hey, Asmon, it's Horizon Casts, or Anthony, whichever works better. I doubt you're going to see this. It'll probably get removed or it'll get buried or something like that, but that's okay. I still wanted to make the video anyways.
Okay.
And this is really just kind of in response to a video that was released on your channel in regards to you addressing a Reddit post that was basically claiming that you were hypocritical and you didn't actually care about the issues you were protesting and stuff like that, which I 100% disagree with. And I think
True.
your assertion of your points and assertion of your logic in your video was very straightforward and done very thoughtfully.
Great.
But I did still want to raise a few points that I think kind of came up both in that video and in the Reddit post, and that I think bear a little bit more scrutiny.
Okay.
And maybe at the end of this give
We'll
you
see.
a little bit better of a foothold from which to start something if you wanted to.
Alrighty.
I agree wholeheartedly with your point that if you were to simply announce that you were unsubscribing from World of Warcraft, and that you were doing so in protest the store amounts with zero preparation or coordination, that it would absolutely fail. And in fact, that it would fail so completely and utterly that it would almost certainly do more harm than good to whatever.
So we are in
protest
agreement
you
with
would be
that.
trying to
That would
start.
be,
absolutely the last thing
I would
you
be
wanna
farming
do
elves.
is move too hastily and damage your position by doing something that
True.
isn't well thought out or coordinated.
True.
But I disagree with the notion that something like this can't be done or that it's impossible. It is.
I feel like it's impossible. I'll wait for him to explain why he thinks it isn't impossible, but I think it's impossible.
Possible to do this if you do it the right way.
Okay.
Now, of course, at this point, you're going to ask, well, what does the right way look like?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty simple. You start by gathering information. Seems like the logical first step is something that you would be surprised you have to point out to people. The first thing you have to do is find out as thoroughly as you can, how many people actually have a genuine problem with store mounts.
I have. Not enough. You see, like, okay, let me explain. So with a lot of things, what we have, whenever you're talking about getting people involved with something or getting people invested with something, you have to look at something that is basically concentric circles. So we're going to look at a few concentric circles here, and I'm going to explain pretty much what I'm talking about. So we're going to go like right here, and then we're going to go right here, and then we're going to go right here. Okay, so I'd like to explain exactly why I think it's not going to work. So this circle right here is all WoW players. And then this circle right here is all WoW players who consume content online about WoW. So that means like anybody who's on Twitter watching videos or anything like that, any of that stuff. Like, so that's these people, okay? And then we're going to go over here to this circle. And then this circle is going to be people that have a problem with store mounts. WoW players who consume online content who have a problem with store mounts. Okay, so then there's this right here. And then what we're looking at, this is the real point of difference here, is we're going to go all the way to here. This small circle is WoW players who consume content online who have a problem with store mounts and would be willing to unsub because of it as a show of protest. So what we have here are concentric circles. And what my concern is that these concentric circles are so small. It's such a small... It's a vanishingly small amount of people, because you immediately, whenever you're talking about WoW players in general at all, you are really only talking about the people that you can reach. And what percentage, and I'm curious to ask, what percentage of WoW players do you think consume online content about World of Warcraft? They know who I am. They know who Swifty is. They know who Athena is. How many people do you think do that? Well, I'd say 40%. Yeah, I think that's about right. So, 40%, 20 to 40%. I think 40% is one of the higher numbers. And then you have to look at the amount of people who actually have a problem with storm mounts, because there are a lot of people who are completely fine with storm mounts. They don't care. So they're automatically ruled out. That's not going to work. These people are automatically ruled out because they're totally fucking fine with storm mounts. Why would it matter to them? They just play the game for Mythic Plus. They could care less. Why would they unsub for storm mounts? They don't care. And then also, so inside of that, so there's all those people you're ruling out. And then they've never given it a second thought. Or they have, and they're totally fine supporting Blizzard because they like Blizzard Entertainment for whatever reason. And, you know, like now it might sound weird to say, but for many years this was just the case and it was fine. And then you have... this is a circle of people. This one right here, the second to smallest circle, is the circle of people who are not okay with storm mounts. So this is, again, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Concentric circles of influence and the amount of people that are involved. So these are the people that do not like storm mounts. And I'm talking about they just have a relative dislike of storm mounts. That's it. They just dislike storm mounts. It's not like they hate them and this is like the worst thing in the world to them, but they would prefer that they don't exist. And not even prefer they don't exist, but they actually, you know what? I'll be a little bit more fair. They really don't like storm mounts. But then inside of the amount of people that don't like storm mounts, you get to the smallest circle, which is really the amount of people that we can make a change with. And these are the people who are WoW players, who consume content online, who have a problem with storm mounts, and are willing to unsub. Because there's a lot of people that have a problem with storm mounts, and they're never going to unsub. So it's like you can say, oh man, if you do it, you know, that's fine. But like these people will not actually do it. They have a problem with it. They don't like it, but they're not really going to unsub. And I think that's less than half of the amount of people that actually have a problem with storm mounts. So going into it, the amount of people in a best case scenario that you could bring onto your cause is only in the orange. That's your best case scenario. And maybe a little bit here of the green. Maybe like a third of the green people you can sway their opinion. But everybody else doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, you see, like outside of this orange circle, what percentage of this orange circle is it of the entire circle of all WoW players? Again, you're talking about a fraction of a fraction. So you think this movement would be big enough to reach people that just plays the game? No, I don't think so, because a lot of people that just play the game don't give a fuck. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. These are people that are like, man, you know, we sure haven't had a BlizzCon for a while. I hope they bring that back. I don't know what's been going on. Fucking COVID. This is just a theory, though. Is there anybody who thinks that this theory is wrong? Is there anybody that disagrees with my logic that I use to come to this conclusion? Because what I'm really looking for, if somebody can refute this theory, if you can refute this theory right here, I will lead the movement. But you cannot refute this theory. It will not happen. I can almost guarantee you it will not happen. You can maybe get half of the green. You'll convince this many people, and maybe some of those people, this is like potentially also red. Maybe, right? So, like, you can add in maybe this much. Like, these are just the people. Keep in mind, these are just the people that you can reach. Because all of these people in this outside white circle, you can't even reach them. People can push a movement by word of mouth. People in the red telling friends who don't consume WoW content. A movement by word of mouth. No, I don't think so. I genuinely do not think so. Because I genuinely believe, I really believe this, most players are okay with store mounts. And the ones that are not okay with it don't care enough to do anything about it. It's a very, very simple analysis to me. I enjoy playing the game, even though there are store mounts in the game. There you go. It's that simple. Yes, I still enjoy playing the game, even if there are store mounts. I mean, I played Black Desert. You think I'm going to complain about I'm going to quit over a store mount? That's a sickness? No, most people will come back to WoW if the game is good. Most people will not come back to WoW if the store mounts are gone. If Blizzard said tomorrow, we're getting rid of all the store mounts, everybody is not going to come back and play the game again. Like, true. Yeah, so it's like, how can I get almost universal agreement that the graph is right, that even doing it won't bring that many people back, and people still think that there's some way it can happen? You know, like, and I truly believe that nobody can refute this graph. I think that this graph right here, nobody can fucking prove this wrong. And if you can prove this fucking graph wrong, I will go on a fucking movement and get everybody to unsub, including myself. But you cannot disprove this graph, and you fucking know it. You don't care at all to quit. Yeah, they'll unsub to be part of the movement. You think they're going to change their Facebook profile picture to a flag too? Come on.
Both agree that most people don't like the storm mounts, especially from what I've seen in Reddit, in your community, and other communities, most people don't like them. Especially when many of those
a lot of people don't
much higher quality than what you can earn in game, which is ridiculous. Right? They shouldn't have features or qualities that are much better than anything that you can earn from raid or grinding or things like that. And the start of this whole process would be to try and get that feedback about where people stand on it.
Yeah.
If the feedback is largely negative, then that should serve as your sign to go ahead. However, in the off chance that people either just don't care or they like the store mounts, then hey, you got your answer. No further work is needed. You got your answer.
And that's what I've said. I've got my answer. I've already got my answer with this. I know that there's not enough people that care about it the way that I do. That's it. Yeah. There's just not enough people. Like, please keep going. Oh, no, I will watch the entire video.
Being called today. Sorry, boys, we tried.
It is what it is.
That is the first step, and assuming that, and I think most people would agree that the storm mounts are bad, and that would lead to the second step. And that second step is pretty simple. It's gathering support. And this is where I want to raise my second point in regards to your video. I know that for the most part, you believe that your sway and your influence are minor, and that ultimately your effect on the WoW community is much smaller than most people believe.
Yes.
Including yourself. I disagree. You are one of the single most well-known, most watched, and most recognizable online personalities or content creators on the internet right now.
Yeah.
Let alone as a highly viewed World of Warcraft streamer.
Yeah.
Despite what you may think, you do right now have considerable reach and influence, and for the better or worse, people listen to what you say.
They do.
I would go so far as to say that there probably isn't a single Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, and all of that is one word, employee who doesn't know who you are. And this also extends to other streamers and other content creators. It's weird to think,
but maybe.
Many
I don't know.
of whom receive more exposure on their content and their streams in an indirect way because of you.
Yeah.
I say all of that to say
content
this.
Creators.
If you, Asmongold, ask people for their help and support, they are going to be likely to give it to you. And the best part is that you don't even have to do this publicly.
The problem is that it's easy to ask people to do something. It's a lot harder to ask people to take something away from themselves. It's very hard to ask people to take something away from themselves. No offense, dude. I like you, but I'm not quitting the game if you ask me to. Zera, aren't I saying the same thing? Same? Yeah. Same. Yeah. I would. I'm glad there's same. Yeah, there's a lot of people that they're just not gonna do it. I get it. The thing is that the reason why a lot of people followed me over to Final Fantasy is because Final Fantasy, the value proposition of the game was good. It was a good value proposition. A lot of people wanted to see they wanted to see a new game. They wanted to do that. There is not the same value proposition promised in removing store mounts. That's the truth.
At least not at first. When I talk about gathering support, I mean doing it quietly, at least at first, meeting with other streamers and content creators, talking with them, and simply asking them 2 questions. Do they agree that store mounts are bad for the game? Are they unhealthy? And if so, would they support a movement to get them removed, or at least get the store removed?
I think that the third question, that's the most important question, is would you publicly unsub and stop playing the game, effectively sabotaging your career that's already on shaky ground already, that you've spent years to develop, that you still are trying desperately to hold on to every single day? Is this something that you are willing to put at risk over a mount?
Most of them have already publicly stated that they think that the store mounts are bad. And the majority of them have also stated
there's a lot of people who think that a lot of things are bad, but whenever it comes to taking action against them, they don't. Here's a really interesting question. How many people in the United States do you think the two-party system is bad? Like, what percentage do you think believe that the two-party system is not a good thing for the United States? Let's say, let's make a conservative estimate, probably 40 to 70%. How many people vote for the third parties? I have many examples that I can use that will prove my point, because I think constantly about how people think. It is something that consumes my mind. It is something that I have a very strong interest in. And I think all of the time, how can I get people to think like me? How can I get people to agree with me? How can I say the magic words that gets people on my side? I think about this all the time. This is not just a throwaway opinion from me. This is something that I have invested a lot of time into. And I have a lot of examples for. And I can go through them one after another, after another, after another. And I think that the best example is the amount of times that people are apathetic about things, but somehow the actual change never, or people hate things, but they're so apathetic that they never change. The example to iPhone users use their phone man with slavery. No one likes it, but people like their phones. Yeah, I think that's another example. Yeah, you're right. I mean, people have, think about all of the things that you're probably wearing on your body or using on a regular basis that are created through the blood, sweat, and tears of third-party labor. What do you think? Those people are happy over there working for these fucking companies? I'm sure some of them are, but I think there's a reason why they get locked into the building whenever the day's over. Yeah, think about that. Why are they getting locked in the building? And everybody hates that. Oh, I don't want that. I guarantee you, if they went over and they were making them in the United States and it costs 3 times as much money, if there was an iPhone for $3,000, but it was ethically made, and there was a Samsung for $1,000, and it was made by literal slaves that get killed for even disagreeing with their superiors, what do you think people would buy? What do you think people would buy? If it was $1,000 and $1,500, if it was that small, a $500 difference to save the lives and end the entire economy of slavery and abuse, if it was $200, if it was $100, no. Because people don't really care about anything unless it affects them. And most people are not affected by store mounts. They don't give a fuck. That's the cold, hard truth. And we get to see it played out every 4 years.
think that a continual store is unhealthy for the game, and most of them, at least outside looking in, appear to like and or support you in some fashion. And let's say in the off chance you're not comfortable with them directly supporting you, then ask them to support a protest or a movement.
I'd be fine with it.
As a whole, instead of you personally. But the most important thing is to ask them. If you don't ask them, if you don't ask your community and these other streamers and these other content creators for support, then nobody can help. If you don't ask, they can't say yes. The worst that they can say is no. At absolute bare minimum, they just say, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Then you're no worse off than you were before, and you continue on.
I think there's a lot of people that would... The thing is, most players, most content creators, I think probably don't like the store. I think that if there was a button that almost every content creator could push, and they could push this button, and it gets rid of the store, most people would push the button. But if they have to do anything else besides push a button, well, then it's not going to happen.
Then finally, the third part of this whole thing, and as my bit of, I guess, advice... and the part that is arguably the hardest, and that is the coordination and execution part.
Yeah.
And that is choosing a time or duration of time.
It's also, like, again, I'm not going to get into, like, a whole lot of this, but it's also language barriers. I'm only speaking in English. I forgot, that's actually another concentric circle. I didn't even think of that. But yes, it's another concentric circle of people that I would not really be able to reach because they don't even speak English. Yeah, I totally fucking forgot about that.
Which to protest the store and in which to make your argument in as convincing a fashion as possible. I know that you're a huge fan of the saying, every WoW protest is one cinematic away from being over.
I said every gaming protest, not just WoW protest. Every gaming protest is one 3-minute cinematic away from being over.
But I know that this isn't true. And I think that most people don't want it to be true. This is the part that would require backbone and conviction and the willingness to see something like this through. And that is where people like you become incredibly valuable. People that lead from the front and who are knowledgeable about what they're talking about and who understand the issues.
Yeah.
And you have been playing this game for a very, very long time.
That's how I know.
You understand this issue probably better than anybody else, as well as a whole host of other issues that could be fixed by removing the store.
So there's somebody that knows, understands it
one of
better
the best
than
people to speak on this.
But other people understand as much as I do.
You're also one of the best people suited to at least put something like this together or at least get a movement going. And I think the best way to kind of liken this to something that we can use as an in-game example is think of it like leading a high-level raid, but a raid with people who actually know how to play the game. I'm not talking some schmuck you pulled off of a
good example. You guys want another example? I just thought of this. So what do you think people care more about? Hong Kong or store mounts? Hong Kong. We still have WoW in China. We have Blizzard change its rules. Is Blitzchung still playing Hearthstone for Blizzard? People forgot about it because it was convenient to forget. It was convenient to not care. If you think people, and to be honest, I think there's a lot of people that care about the store mount issue more than they care about the people in Hong Kong, to be honest with you. But all I'm saying is that something that big, something with that much of an impact, still didn't do a fucking thing. Still didn't do a fucking thing. And I said that the day that the Hong Kong thing happened. And I got so much hate. And I was right.
Group. I'm talking people you actually coordinated with in a raid, similar to this. Think about setting up a raid against the WoW store. Give it that way. But again, with people who actually know what they're doing. The most important part of this step would just be raising the issue and explaining why the store is bad and providing a solution. Okay, so you have to say what the issue is. You have to say why it's an issue. Then you have to have a solution. It's no good complaining about an issue if you are not willing to propose a better idea. And I know that you're going to say, well, it's not my job to provide a solution. That's Blizzard's job. The reality of human thinking is sometimes they don't have a better idea.
Well, they do have a better idea. See, the solution to the store is to not have the store. Let's do a thought exercise. What would be an alternative to the store for Blizzard to make the same amount of money? The obvious alternative is to increase the sub. To increase the sub to $17. How many people would voluntarily pay $2 more a month to do that? How many people would vote to increase the sub, even if it would be better for them? How many people would vote to increase their taxes, even if it could be better for them? I think a lot about how people think. I already have examples. It's just like, I don't know. I legitimately would. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that you would do it. I'm glad that you would do it. That's good. Implement a system like Overwatch, not perfect. They can make items on the store possible to earn by playing the game. Well, they are, but somebody has to pay real money for them. Like, one way or another, every single store mount that's minted, I hate using that word because it's a crypto word, but that's I think a good word here. Every single store mount that becomes minted is minted because of $25. There are no store mounts that are minted because of gameplay.
There's so much onus on game developers and game designers to come up with everything, but they're only people. They can't think of everything. And some of them haven't been working on this game longer than you've been playing it. Some of these people actually really new. And you probably, since you've been thinking about these issues for a long time and you've been discussing and debating it, you probably have some better ideas that they just either haven't considered, haven't thought of, or wouldn't even think of. Right?
Or they don't want to do.
If you have a solution, then propose a solution.
There's also the possibility that they've thought of what I want to do, what I would propose, and they don't want to do it. That's also a very strong possibility.
Right? That's the most important part about raising an issue. And then one of two things happens when you do this at the end of this whole movement, at the grand culmination of everything.
Yeah.
Either the changes get made and you will have shown that the community can actually enact a change and that better things can come of it and that you actually can raise issues and
that would be
addressed.
Big. Huge.
And then, the store gets changed or removed or whatever the end result looks like, but at least something will have happened or absolutely nothing happens. And in which case, you're no better off or worse off than you were before.
You are absolutely worse off because you've proven that you can fail. You've proven that you're weak.
But at least you tried.
And people will hold it against you forever.
You know that you gave it everything you had.
People will meme on you and take you less seriously forever because of it. Do you really think that won't happen? I don't think so, bro. Okay. Let's see. Examples of people who have tried to do something bigger than themselves and then failed and been memed on for it. Plenty of celebrities that run for office. Tanacon. Coney 2012 was a meme. Let's see, Neil Young trying to cancel Joe Rogan. Yep, they just got rid of his catalog, yeeted and deleted. No more rocking in the Spotify world. Dave Chappelle. I don't know about Dave Chappelle is not necessarily a great example because Dave Chappelle, I don't know why he stopped making content, so I'm not really sure if that worked. Let's see, Fire Festival, not really good example. Jeb Bush. I think Kaepernick won. It's hard to say. I mean, that's a fresh one. It's very political. People have a lot of opinions about it. So I'm not going to use that one. It's two people. Kanye West. Yeah, Kanye West running for president. People think he's an idiot because he did that. Even though he tried to do something. He tried to punch above his weight. And he failed. And people think less of him because of it. The anti-work mod punched very hard, very far above their weight. And they failed. And people think less of him because of doing it. I have so many examples.
At the end of the day, you have the peace of mind knowing that you genuinely tried to enact a change, and for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. But at least you will have tried.
Peace of mind of failure.
The other point that you raised
I don't need another one of
in
those.
the video, and this is kind of closing arguments that I wanted to address, was you raised a point about the person from anti-work subreddit going on live television and getting slaughtered in an interview.
Yes.
How that pretty much destroyed their movement and made things a lot worse than it was before.
Yes.
And in that specific instance, you are correct. It was handled badly, it wasn't coordinated, and they didn't do what they were supposed to do in order to enact a change effectively.
They did this 10 years ago with Occupy Wall Street, too. Do you remember back whenever Fox and people would go and interview the Occupy Wall Street protesters in New York, and they're wearing furry outfits, and people just laugh at them and stop taking it seriously? This happened back in 2008 or something like that. 2009 was a very, very long time ago. Many people don't remember. Elizabeth Warren at the time was actually a very huge proponent of it. I gained a lot of respect for her whenever she was so adamant against with the Occupy Wall Street movement. I remember many things. I unfortunately was not born yesterday. I've been around for a while, enough to see this happen multiple times. He will not divide us. Yeah. Do you think that he will not divide us? The Shia LaBeouf thing helped Donald Trump? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because it shows that your critics don't have teeth.
Honestly, tell me that you don't think that
and it makes
with
Shia
you
a
and
bigger
with other
joke.
people in this community with proper preparation and planning and with some well thought out intelligent points that you could not
I guess for
easily
me, that's
do
a good
better
example,
job than
right?
that?
Sorry,
I'd like to
hear
think
that part.
not easily of planning and with some well thought out, intelligent points that you could not easily do a better job than that. I'd like to think the opposite.
Really? Did you watch the 2016 election? Who won the thing? The world-class debater Ted Cruz or Rand Paul, who had much better arguments? I'm not saying that they should have been president, but I think we can agree that they had much better arguments than Lion Ted, Little Marco. Having a good argument is nice, but that doesn't mean that you win. Ted Cruz is a pussy, fucking rhinos. I don't care about your opinion on Ted Cruz. All I'm saying is that his debates and what he was saying was of more substance than Donald Trump, and I think that anybody could easily come to that conclusion. Even if you like Donald Trump more than Ted Cruz, you can still come to the conclusion that Ted Cruz had more substance in what he said in the debates. He was more articulate. Absolutely. He's a literal, like won debate championships and shit like that. Yeah. It's not a surprise.
To think that you guys absolutely could do an easier job than that and a much better job than that. There are a number of people in the community who speak incredibly well and who are very, very intelligent, or self among them, that could represent a boycott or a protest or a whatever of the WoW store fairly easily. Okay? No one's saying that you have to, charge a hill with a sword and kill everybody on it, but at least be the vocal point or the leader.
If you're not willing to do that, then why would people get off the hill?
Of a movement. It doesn't have to be you, but someone that is knowledgeable and intelligent. And I think that there are plenty of people in this community that represent that. And any one of those people would have far more composure and poise than that person that was yanked off of that subreddit to do an interview. Right? With the proper time and preparation, you guys could very, very easily make this change happen. Final closer argument is just this. At the end of the day, something like this isn't an easy decision to make, regardless of whether or not you do or don't decide to protest.
Unfortunately, it is. I wish it was a harder decision. I wish we had a this was closer. I wish.
And in this instance, there are a lot of people that stand to lose a lot from this, both financially, standing-wise, career-wise, reputation-wise. There's a lot to be lost on this if it is handled spectacularly badly and goes spectacularly wrong.
Right.
And it's entirely possible that at the end of it, if you were to get a movement together and protest the storm and get everyone to unsubscribe for, I don't know, a month or whatever, that absolutely nothing would happen and that it all amounts to nothing. But if this is something worth fighting for, and if it is something worth discussing, then let's give it an earnest and honest effort. Let's give it a chance to fail. Not trying isn't the answer. It's just not going to work. If you don't try, then nothing will ever happen. If you really don't like it and you think that this is hurting the game and you think that it's unhealthy, then put forth some effort and try to do something about it. Just ask for help and support. You might be
Can I make one more political reference? Will you guys allow me one more political reference? Do you know the day? Do you know whenever Donald Trump trademarked Make America Great Again? It was right after Obama won his second term. It was right immediately after. Do you know why Donald Trump didn't run against Obama in 2012? Because he would have got his ass beat. He'd have got his ass beat. He would have lost bigly. He waited for his opportunity and he took it. It's not about whether you're going to do it or not. It's about when to do it. And I don't know when the right time to do it is, but I do know when the wrong time to do it is, and it's right now.
Really surprised at how many people are ready and willing to stand with you and it's happened. At the end of the day, it's your decision. No one can compel you, no one can force you to do it, but there's never going to be a shortage of people throwing stones. That's all I can say in regards to the Reddit post, and there will always be more. If this is something that you genuinely care about and genuinely want to change, give it a shot. Cheers, and hope this helped.
I appreciate the video. I think this was a good-spirited video, and the guy who made this, Horizon Casts, I mean, I appreciate your video, man. This is a guy who he's just trying to make a video talking to me. He's a fan of the stream. I mean, he's got 38 subscribers, guys. And he wanted to make a video just to get his thoughts out there. He was respectful with everything that he said. He, had arguments that he explained and thought out. I think that they're wrong. But all I'm saying is that, this is the way that I look at things. So, yeah, it's important to keep that in mind. Yeah, it's decent production quality as well. Absolutely. Yeah, respectful and he cares. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad about that. So that's all it comes down to. He's trying to get subscribers. Yeah, but I got content out of it, so we both win. Who cares? And Pyro, if you said it's too much effort to make another WoW video, make sure to let me know if you ever do. I'll get another 1 million views, okay? It'll be great. So yeah, look, here's the thing, guys. I get that people want to see me do something. I get that people want to see me make an action or whatever. But the truth is that I know that it won't work and it will actually weaken my position. That's why I don't like the storm mounts. I've never liked the storm mounts, but I don't like them. It's not that I dislike them so much that I will quit over it. It's that simple. And I think that just in general, I think that's the way most people feel, is that they don't like them, but this isn't something that they want to change their day-to-day routine over. Politics are complicated. Oh, absolutely. I mean, politics are very complicated, and it's always a risk making political references, because people will hear the reference and they'll be like, well, you know what? Nobody asked, but I'm going to give my opinion on that candidate that you just used as a reference, and also on their policy and that thing they said 6 years ago. I'm going to type this out in a little well-written paragraph. That way it could, that's what it is.